These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, February 5th, the day after the Celtics took down the Grizzlies, but in sort of a lull period. There was no game today. There's no game tomorrow. Next game is Wednesday. Weird set of games for the Celtics. They had a game, then
break.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back days off, then the Grizzlies game, and then 2 back-to-back days off again. So very weird scheduling, which I suppose good for the break, but not great for content because there's no games to talk about. So we piled stuff together. However, luckily for us and unluckily for Sam, the trade deadline is in 3 days. So we'll be talking plenty of trades.
I don't care.
You're familiar with. And if he hits me with an I don't care, I'm taking him off.
I did it on purpose. I told Jack I'd feel bad. I always tell him I don't care about stuff.
We're here, though. Sam, finally back from LA. I know you were happy to be home, but do you miss the weather? Are you a fan of this weather? I know it's cold in LA too, but I know
it was fucking raining there.
It is colder here, though. It is objectively colder.
When I left Logan Airport today, it was not that cold.
Okay.
It was like 35. When I go running tomorrow, I might feel differently. But, I mean, it was fucking pouring in LA. We went there, I guess, the one weekend all year it's going to rain. It was downpouring yesterday.
It's tough.
I guess I have enough rat list where I can kind of burn this now. But so we left for the event we were doing yesterday for work, and it's like right across the street from our hotel. The whole avenue where like the Staples Center, Crypto Arena, whatever it is closed off for the Grammys, which was there yesterday. So it's downpouring. We're able to just sprint right back to the hotel. Now, here I am, hungry after a hard day's work, and I am like, all right, we had sweet green the other day. I really enjoyed it. Let me go get one. There's one right around the corner. Great. I'll go out there. I have an umbrella. I'll be fine. Me telling this story tells you I wasn't fine. I went around the corner. There just wasn't a sweet green there. Just no sweet green. It is windy. It's coming down hard. So I ended up like walking another block, drenched, to go get a burrito, and I ditched the umbrella and just ran back.
That sounds not very fun.
So I'm happy to be
have
home.
A good time. Yeah, exactly.
Like I was in a hotel, so like I've never door dashed at a hotel. I didn't really I didn't know what the etiquette is for that. So I was like, I'm not gonna make somebody come over here with all this traffic restrictions and everything.
I feel like you could just DoorDash it and say, I'll meet you in the lobby. Like in the little notes, just say, I'll meet you in the lobby.
Well, this hotel, let me tell you, getting to the lobby is no easy feat. You got to go up the elevators to the 34th floor. And then to get, so if I'm going back to my room in the hotel, I have to, I'm sorry for people that came here to listen to Celtics. If I'm going back to my room, I have to take an elevator up and then go to another elevator to go down.
What?
That's what I experienced.
There's no lobby.
Big fat what? There is a lobby. It's just on the 34th floor.
What's on the first floor?
Elevators.
That's it on the first floor.
Yeah, it's like a little table, and then you walk in, and there's 3 elevators.
There's got to be something going on there. I don't know. Anyways, like you said, people came here to talk Celtics or listen to Celtics, so we're going to talk Celtics, and we're going to start with the trade stuff that I did mention at the top of the episode with an article that I wrote for Celtics blog because February 8th trade deadline is 2 days away. Celtics only have that much time to make a potential move. They have a 15th roster spot open. Will they fill it with the buyout guy? Will they fill it with a trade piece? Will they sign Nikola Vucevic? The latter is probably the closest thing we'll get to correct. However, we're going to be ranking Celtics 15th edition. We'll probably title it ranking trade options because that is the bulk of these ranking potential TBE trade options. However, we're going to encapsulate it all. Again, I wrote an article for Celtics blog ranking 15th roster spot options from realistic to stop suggesting this. We can go over some. There's some guys I left off the list that I probably should have put on it, but off the dome, is there any person trade target out there that fits the TPE or is just outside of it that they could get to that would interest you, especially with the reporting from Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype that the Celtics are staying active ahead of the deadline. They could look to package some of these minimum contract players. He mentioned Kelly Olynyk, DeLon Wright, and Andre Drummond. For what it's worth, Andre Drummond is the only of those who fit into the TPE, and Kelly Olynyk would be very hard to match his salary.
Correct.
But it does sound like they are willing to stack some of these minimum contract guys to get a piece, whether it be $6 million in the TPE or 9 million, which is the most realistically they could get to is around that 9 million mark with stacking these salaries. But anything that stands out to you off the dome?
I mean, DeLon Wright was a weird name to have thrown in there because I get you want to add a little bit more size on the bench at the guard position, preferably somebody that can defend. So if Pritchard isn't giving you much offensively, like that Grizzlies game was not a good Pritchard game. They still beat the piss out of him. But if you're playing against a team that wasn't comprised of a bunch of G League guys, Pritchard not being able to score the ball could result in you needing somebody else to take those minutes to keep yourself in the game. So if you're able to put somebody out there you can rely on defense, it's not the worst thing in the world. I would rather see them go after Chris Dunn, not that Utah
Yeah.
is selling him. But it seems like a really fun name to bring in with the Providence College connection, and also that he's been playing some good ball this year, which is obviously why Utah's probably not going to get rid of him. Andre Drummond would be funny just because he's the greatest rebounder ever. So you would have like Andre Drummond join the team, and then you would have a whole new wave of comments in the YouTube Jack where it's like, why is Luke Cornett playing over Andre Drummond and Nimi Keita instead of just over Nimi? Like, this guy's the greatest rebounder ever, and you're telling me Luke Cornett's going to get minutes over him? What are we doing? Now, was it you that said you'd come around on Drummond a little bit, or was that Keith? I know Keith.
It might have been Keith. I still don't love the idea. I still don't think he's better than Luke Cornett. I think he
Greatest
can be
rebounder.
better in spots. Like, he's a fine rebounder. He's a bad defender, objectively so. He's not good on offense at all. Like, all he does is rebound the ball, which is why he is greatest. Like, that's all he does. That's all he is.
Well, there's
So
that time he did the peace sign.
he's probably better than Nimish Keita right now, if that's what you want, but he's not as athletic, and so you're losing that aspect. But he is definitely a better rebounder, and that is the main thing that they like from Keita when he's in the game. I said this I just did Celtics Lab with Cam Tabatabai, Justin Quinn, and Alex Skulberg. I think that's his Twitter name, but I apologize if it's wrong. And then we did Talk and Seas earlier today, or 5 p.m. yesterday is when it went out for you guys listening to this. And I said Andre Drummond's gotten to the point where if I wake up tomorrow and I see the Celtics traded for Andre Drummond, I'd be like, okay, cool, that's fine. But it's not moving. You know what I'm saying? It's not like getting me excited or moving the needle. It's just there. Like, it's fine. He was under my realistic options in my rankings, where I put him under that top category with John Conchar, Torrey Craig, and Nimish Keita to fill the 15th roster spot. But it's just, I don't know, just kind of whatever to me, Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, what are you going to do? You bring him in, it's found money. It's not like you were going to lose anybody if you have to do that. And if you do lose somebody, it's not somebody you're playing a lot of minutes because the salaries wouldn't work. You're not playing anybody big minutes except Hauser that makes anywhere near the money that Andre Drummond is making in terms of how little it is. So it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. And like you said, if you wake up to a notification, you're like, reaction video. And that's your take. That's it.
Free video. Past that, like I said, the other realistic guys I mentioned were Conchar, which I stand by as a fine option because he makes $6 million for the next 3 years, so it gives you avenues to make a trade. Torrey Craig, who's coming back from his injury soon, would be another, sure, I guess, fine guy. And then Keita as the 15th guy makes sense. The borderline realistic category, I had 3 names: one trade guy, 2 buyout guys. Najee Marshall was in there. Bobby Marks, when he suggested him, said, I don't think New Orleans would do it, which is why I put him as borderline realistic, because he probably could convince them to trade him, but he does play 18 minutes a night and he's played in 40 games for them, so he is getting actual minutes. But he's like a fine 3-and-D guy. Just if Hauser's not shooting well or Pritchard's not making his shots, you can plug him in there. He'll give you a little bit of a different look on defense at the very least. Fine, whatever. And the buyout guys were Gallinari, but it seems like the Pistons kind of want to keep him around because he's helping their offense. And the other guy, which I think you might get mad at me, or is probably an unpopular take, if he gets bought out, I would not hate PJ Tucker on this team.
I'm not getting mad at you. I think PJ Tucker is kind of hilarious, to be honest with you. Like, his whole wanting to be in Philly with Harden, getting traded to the Clippers along with Harden, and then saying that he's going to ask for a trade from the Clippers. And I forget what the sourcing was on it, but I saw PJ Tucker's actively looking to be traded. It's like, if you trade for him, Well, you can't. But if you get him via buyout, it's not the worst thing. It's foul money. It's the same thing as Drummond. And at least that's a guarantee that he's not going to be trying to guard Tatum in the playoffs because
Mhm.
he's done actually a pretty decent job at it. I know Tatum had 50 in game 7 last year, but looking back to the Heat series from 2022, Tucker was a big factor in the way that he
Mhm.
defended Tatum.
And
He's older. He's not that PJ Tucker anymore, but at the very least, he's not going to be out there trying to hurt your guys.
to be perfectly clear, PJ Tucker is not very good anymore. And like my brain understands
I
this is
mean,
not a good signing for the Celtics. He hasn't played since November. Like he's
well, that's
not in
just
the
because
rotation.
they don't want to give him an opportunity.
He's
Kind of
bad.
fucked
Like
if you ask
he's
me.
objectively bad. And in his last 5 games that he did play in, he didn't score a single point, and he took 2 shots. He's not good. Like
That's what he
he's
was
not
doing with
good.
Philly. And then
However,
he came out in game 7 and
I
made
know,
like 3 threes in the
I
first
know.
quarter. I wanted to put my head in the microwave. Go ahead.
However, if for some reason you need somebody to just go muck it up, which I know this is ironic after like what 4 or 5 episodes ago I said I don't believe in that. I don't think you need someone to start a
You
fight.
need a grit
Like
guy.
yeah, maybe I'm
You do need a get in
I
the fight
know.
guy.
Maybe I'm
Jack's come around.
stepping maybe I'm stepping on my own toes, going back on my word, but like I don't hate it. Like no one in that 15th roster spot is going to give you much. No one they likely acquire is going to do much. If he's the guy and you just get him there to be effectively be Grant but not playing, fuck it. Like it's just I don't care. Like that'd be cool. So
You know,
that is my take that I feel like people will get mad and yell at me at because again in my brain I know he's not good. I know he's not great anymore, but I just think it would be like why not like get him in there for just to annoy people.
PJ Tucker, Jack watched and realized that the Celtics had lost a couple games to the Pacers, and he was like, they need to get somebody to fight James Johnson
He'd get his
just in
ass kicked by
case.
James Johnson. James
That's
Johnson would kick
okay.
his ass.
That's okay. It's better him kicking his ass than like I don't want to say Tatum or Brown. Like who could I realistically see pissing off James Johnson? Al
Nobody on
Horford,
this team.
maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody on the Celtics team would
Al
piss him off,
Horford's like a
really.
little bit of an instigator. He does the
Yeah, but
flinch thing.
I don't think he would piss off James Johnson. I don't know.
Maybe. But you got to protect the boys.
Pritchard would probably piss him off. Yeah.
It's just like beating Pritchard's ass.
Yeah. Anyways, past that. So the next category I had on here, I didn't have Chris Dunn on my list, by the way, which is an oversight on my end. That's my bad. I would probably
Well, no,
put him.
I don't think it's like super realistic anymore.
But I
We
have
talked about
unrealistic
it.
categories, so
Okay.
I would probably put him under that category. Same thing with Royce O'Neal, who I also didn't put on, who is another like maybe guy. But
How much do you make?
like 9-ish million around there.
I don't know if you want to give up a first round pick for him though.
Yeah, and got the
How's
bench.
he been playing okay?
9 also for what it's worth. 9 mil would have to be like every single minimum contract guy.
It's okay.
So and probably Jordan Walsh, like every single exactly like everything.
Now we know Jordan Walsh can score in an NBA game, so it's kind of tough to trade him. We weren't sure for a while.
Let me fact check myself on that. I just want to know how much you can get up to without it. He makes 9.5 mil. So if you put in all of the minimum guys, yeah, I don't think it'd get you there. I think you would need either Jordan Walsh or Pritchard in that deal to make it work.
What if you do GoFundMe? Like you signed to the 15th roster spot, GoFund me, and you can trade him.
No. The next category I had on here was so they changed the title, Bill did, for editing purposes, which fair enough. It's realistic, but why? As in realistic, but like, what's the point? Like, why? It doesn't make sense.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. In that category, I had Otto Porter Jr., who's like he's kind of washed at this point. Chetty Osman, who is way too similar to Sam Hauser, I think, to get minutes. And then I grouped together 4 players of like, what's the point? Like, would they play over Sam Hauser? No. Would they play over, maybe they're a little bit better than O'Shea Brissett, but they don't bring the same thing. Jalen McDaniels, Reggie Bullock, Robert Covington, Jay Sean Tate. Like, I don't hate Covington and Bullock of the 4 of them, but like, it's just meh to me. Like, it's
the problem is Hauser has been good enough this year where that's not an area you need to look to improve. Like last season,
exactly.
A lot of the discussion, especially like this time, maybe the few months before this, was who can they bring in? Because Gallinari got hurt. Like it was Melo right when it happened. Everyone was like, Melo's going to be on the Celtics. Melo. I did a few articles where I was like, Otto Porter Jr., like he would be great. Like just won a title with the Warriors. He has the experience, blah, blah, blah. And there was so much room for improvement there. It was a big question mark. Now you've had a year with Hauser getting real minutes, and he looks comfortable. He's fine. He isn't a weakness on defense, despite the way he looks. And there's nobody, I think, for this price that you're going to bring in that's going to make it worth your while and play him off the floor, or even give you something completely different than Hauser to be Grant. Because I don't think they have a Grant this year, and they could probably use one. Somebody that can guard the bigger guys, but can also hang with the smaller ones and shoot threes pretty well.
The NFL season is wrapping up, and there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Now, the app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
I just don't think they have that body anymore.
I was going to say that's also not something that just kind of is floating out there. Like that's just not something that's really.
I mean, Grant is floating out there, but that's neither here nor there yet.
That's not allowed. The other two in the realistic but like not needed category are Mike Muscala, which you don't really need him, and Javon Carter, which is like maybe you get him for the little bit of a defensive dichotomy at the point guard position, but like if you're looking for anything at the point guard spot, you'd probably want a little bit more size in addition to Pritchard, and Carter is not that. He's about the same height, so it doesn't make sense to me. Borderline unrealistic. I have three people. I have Nick Richards, Simone Fontecchio, and Sadiq Bey. I don't really see it. Like Nick Richards is playing big minutes in injured Hornets rotation. Simone Fontecchio looks really good, and the Jazz don't seem like they're just going to sell pieces for nothing. And then Sadiq Bey, one, I don't love the fit because he needs the ball in his hands, and I don't think he's a better fit than Hauser on this team. And two, I feel like they could get easily outbid if they wanted to trade Bey. Like I think other teams would give more because they have a bigger role for him. So meh on all those guys.
And Bey has been able to take on a little bit more of an off the ball role this year, and just being forced to, right? Because you're playing with Trae Young, you're playing with DeJounte Murray. Those are guys that are going to need the ball in their hand. Trae Young dishes out so many assists because he has like a my career style where it's like, not to say he's not passing the ball well, but like it's very, very much Trae Young is going to have the ball. He's going to put pressure on the defense and make the play. Bey has not done well. He's what, 31% from three, 32%? If he's going to join the Celtics, it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be what they're asking him to do. So to your point, the fit doesn't make a ton of sense there. It could happen. People would get excited. They'd be like, finally, like this guy killed us when he was with the Pistons. He has that little green spot on his hair.
That's also true. He did kill them, and Brad Stevens does love getting.
Brad Stevens is Ryan from The Office, just taking notes.
Yeah. Next category I had was unrealistic but would be cool. Blake Griffin to fill the spot. Cool.
Haven't heard much about Blake Griffin though.
No. Kelly Olynyk, Kenrich Williams, Jalen Smith, guys I just don't think are going to get traded. They're not going to get traded. Dario Saric, I think it might be sneaky realistic, but I don't think so personally. If the Warriors decide to I'd give up a first round pick for Dario Saric to bring him in. I think he's a good player.
Also, the Warriors really can't afford to sell. Like, well, it's top 4 protected, right?
They're not getting that low though.
They're not. It is tough.
Can't.
Like this is like
there's literally no way for them to get that low.
This is like oh man, I don't know what the word is, but it's like literally the year for just dog shit teams.
Yep.
It's like you got the terrible team Avengers, like Pistons, Spurs, Wizards, Hornets, all like hovering around 10 wins or less. Good luck. It's tough because the Warriors have been ass, but they're not going to get paid for it.
No. No. So I don't think that's realistic. The other one, which again, I don't think is realistic, is Alex Caruso. You can't get there without giving up either all the bench and Jordan Walsh or Peyton Pritchard and two of the guys. Like you could get there with Pritchard and Lamar and Svi. I think that gets you there. And
So
I, in the past, have been no Pritchard's good long term. However, that actually, I don't even know if you can get there with Lamar and Svi only. I think you'd also have to throw in Delano, which I mean, at that point, like whatever. But the question is, and I was debating this with Bobby Kravitsky, who's very high on a Caruso deal, is would you trade 2 first-round picks? Because the Bulls are very, very, we don't want to trade him. We want to be mid. Like, let us keep him. I also think they might there's a chance they could get outbid for Caruso too. So that makes another issue. But I think the question of would you trade first-round 2 picks for Alex Caruso, or 2 lottery protected firsts, or a first and 1 like half first, you know what I'm saying? Like all those picks, whatever.
Yeah.
Like what's the line for him? And would you trade Pritchard as well? Keeping into consideration that he is under contract for this year and next year. So like you'd get him for 2, but like they'd probably have the 3 best 3-and-D guards in the league.
So here's the thing, especially since you mentioned Jordan Walsh, right? Caruso is shorter, but he is essentially what you're kind of hoping that Jordan Walsh will turn into. Correct? Like everyone's like, he's going to play defense and shoot threes. Well, look, no, and he's bald too. They both,
Very true.
Anyways, look no further than Alex Caruso. I'd be willing to part with Walsh for Caruso. I think that's the first name that we've talked about where I'd be like, okay.
Context, you'd also have to give O'Shea in that deal. So if that changes your mind.
Well, like you're getting what you want out of those 2 guys in Caruso, though.
I know, but
I'm a fan of Brissett.
The added context to that would be the Bulls would have to release enough players to make the deal happen. So that's why that deal gets a lot trickier, because
Zach LaVine. Everyone
they
wins.
can't like say, oh, we'll just not take Delano. They have to release guys on their roster to take those guys in. So that's where it gets very difficult. And that's why midseason trades are so hard with big things like that.
Yeah, and with the Bulls being posturing like we want to compete, which I'm not sure is true. They just might be trying to negotiate and send a message, but it would be tough. It's tough to really like make them break down and want to give up guys. Caruso would be fun.
Very.
I'm not thrilled about what the cost would be. It's a lot of your depth. I think Brissett adds value regardless if he's a staple of the rotation or not, regardless if I think he's going to play playoff minutes. He has the play style to where if he was forced into a playoff game, there could be an O'Shea Brissett game, and it wouldn't be shocking at all. It would be a game where he's out there, gets some rebounds, makes some hustle plays, and the tide kind of turns. Just like his debut against the Heat in the home opener. The exact thing could happen in the playoffs. And you could say that for anybody, but that play style warrants that kind of unsung hero ball more than a lot of other guys.
I love Caruso. I think it'd be a good trade. But it's not realistic, and the depth thing is also kind of scary. The last things quickly, unrealistic guys, Tyus Jones, TJ McConnell, Thad Young. I don't think either of those are realistic things. And then stop suggesting this is Isaiah Stewart and Gordon Hayward. It's not going to happen. And one is literally illegal. Like one literally cannot happen. As Sam freezes as he's about to make a funny haha joke. He's gonna be real mad when he comes back. But I think we covered a lot of them. Realistically, John Conchar seems like the only one. Hello, welcome back, Sam. What were you saying?
I don't remember. I think what the hell? Oh, I was saying knock it off.
Yeah, literally knock it off. Not gonna happen. But did we miss any? Did we miss any potential trade targets that that I didn't cover in that article outside of Chris Dunn and Royce O'Neal, who I mentioned?
I don't think so. I mean, you could be like Dorian Finney-Smith. What about him? Because we're hearing about that in the rumor market. The answer is he makes too much money.
Too much money. Kelly Olynyk also, for what it's worth, it would have to be Peyton Pritchard, 4 minimum salary guys, and then whatever else. And the Jazz would have to also figure out a way to make it work because he's poison pilled, Peyton Pritchard. So they'd have to send out certain stuff, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. You could technically take Chris Dunn back in that deal too and just absorb him into the TPE and then send out picks. But my tweet today of I don't think it's realistic and might not be worth it, but Peyton Pritchard and minimum contract guys for Olynyk and Dunn works. Just a matter of picks and price, which would be kind of cool. But anyways, what if Tice? Imagine.
Yeah, like I don't know.
They're not
Clippers. You kind of owe the Celtics after what you did this summer.
They're not trading Tice. He plays real minutes for them.
He's a dog.
He's playing well too. He is a dog. He's a beast. All right. Next Celtics thing we got offensive rebounds. Speaking of Andre Drummond, greatest rebounder ever.
Greatest
Slowly,
rebounder ever. Yeah.
after what felt like a season of fixing the issue, Celtics have been the worst defensive rebounding team. Opponents are grabbing the most offensive rebounds against the Celtics than any other team over the last 5 games for all teams. It's been a real problem. It popped up in the Lakers game, obviously, popped up in the Indy game. It popped up in the Grizzlies game, even in the first quarter.
Yep.
It's weird because it feels like I said, like they've been pretty good at it. What the hell? Is it just a matter of try harder? Like what's going on randomly?
It could be some try harder, to be honest. Like, nobody's out. Porzingis playing, Al's playing well. Tatum Brown was out against the Grizzlies and didn't play well against the Lakers. I don't know. It could be wow, they're blocking shots right into the hands of the opposing team like we saw against the Lakers. But yeah, try harder. Definitely do that. It is February. It's kind of the boring part of the season. Probably for these guys, they're ready for the All-Star break. They're probably fatigued. And that could pop up, especially in games that don't have a big bright light around them. But the bad part is these games have had the bright light on them. The Clippers game, 2 of the best teams in the league playing, get whomped at home. Pelicans, good team in the West, competitive. You played well. You closed it out. You won. Pacers, team that's beaten you twice this season, more than anybody else. You're giving up offensive rebounds. Be serious. The Lakers, it's the Lakers. Show up. Play for real. My mom was talking to me and was like, I actually thought she was making some good points. She was talking about this is not a niche point. Other people have had this thought. But with LeBron and Davis out, these guys are prove it time. Especially because it kind of felt like them sitting was them sending a message to the front office being do something about this shitty roster. And all those guys kind of took it personal and literally outworked the Celtics. You can't let that happen in a game like that. You just can't. The Celtics are too good for that, and the rivalry means a lot.
I don't know. The offensive rebounding, it's like a weird thing that's popped up recently. I don't think it's necessarily something I saw somebody make a point oh, they're bad lately. Maybe they trade for Andre Drummond. I don't think you need to focus a trade on this one issue. I think you could just fix the issue because it's not like it was a problem all season. This hasn't been a trend, a continuous thing. It's been a trend for the last 5 games. But then just go back to the way you were playing before, where you fixed it and where it wasn't a big problem. You don't. That's not what I think the Celtics should look for in a potential trade. It can be helpful. You can get someone who could help on the glass, but don't make the trade specifically to fix an issue that has been happening for 5 games, right? Just go back and fix it from then on out. But
the offensive rebounding is the equivalent of traffic. Just drive.
Yeah, right. Just get the rebound.
Yeah.
Anyways, next thing we got, you mentioned it briefly, or you mentioned him briefly. Grant Williams,
him
in trade rumors with the Milwaukee Bucks, reportedly from Mark Stein of the Stein Line, longtime NBA insider. The Bucks and Mavericks have had, quote, exploratory discussions of a potential trade that would swap Bobby Portis and Grant Williams. The Bucks, however, have not been willing to swap Portis for Williams without additional players or draft picks involved. I just think it would be the funniest thing of all time for the Bucks to trade for Grant Williams after he killed them and knocked them out of the playoffs. It just would be hilarious. That's all.
I just think all of it's funny. Anything Grant is funny to me. I think Grant's quality. I like Grant. He's just really fun to make fun of. And the fact that he went to Dallas, wanted a bigger role, got it, started strong, and then it's just ever so slightly sucked more as the months have gone on, is just the perfect downfall. I'm not rooting for him to be bad, but it might be a little funny that he's bad. And I would love it if he was bad for the Bucks.
I think it would be even funnier to see Grant get the Tatum assignment in the playoff series.
Oh, that would be kind of funny. Him trying to be a hard ass against the Celtics.
Yeah. You didn't think of that, did you?
That would rule. I didn't even think of that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to play Grant in the playoffs because I wouldn't want that weird chip on the shoulder edge, but I would also kind of like that because I think the Celtics would also get the chip on the shoulder edge. Those guys love to pick on Grant. They love to bust his balls. So that'd be a great way for them to have a new avenue to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm sure there is a little bit of a you left for a bigger role within the team. You can't tell me that the guys on this team, especially the ones that were here last year, aren't would be kind of cool if he was still around to do the things that we don't have. He didn't have to leave. And of course, at the time, I don't think anybody could have predicted that Rob Williams wouldn't be on the team. And that opened up a ton of ground for him to have minutes if he had stayed or just get traded to Portland instead of Rob. And now it's like, oh, wow, kind of sick to have Grant Williams on the team. Jack was right all along when I was like, I don't know why there's any discussion of Grant like having a role here. There wouldn't have been any role, which at the time there would not have been. But
you kept telling me he wouldn't play.
He wouldn't have played with Rob. I don't think there wouldn't have been as much room.
I still disagree.
It doesn't matter because there was no Rob, and you would have been right.
Anyways, I think for what it's worth as well, like in theory, player to player, like Grant Williams would probably be a pretty good fit on that Bucks team. He would help their defense. He'd give them some floor spacing. The way he's playing now, maybe not, but in theory, him on that roster does make some sense. I don't know if you'd trade Bobby Portis for it. Like Bobby Portis seems like a pretty important piece for you just to throw in. I feel like I'd rather do like Pat Connaught in plus salary filler to get to Grant and then get something else back from the Mavs maybe, but 9-ish mil, a little over 9 mil.
Pat makes 9 mil.
Yeah, they extended him recently, the past few years. Let me check.
There it is, Jack.
What? Pat makes.
Do we have any more guys?
9.4 mil.
Interested in?
You'd have to trade Pritchard to get there. 9.4.
Massachusetts boy, Jack.
No, you don't trade Pritchard for that. You don't need it. Anyways, there's that. Grant to Bucks would be
one more Grant thing. I do wonder if Grant is impacted by the Mavs, meaning Luka, because Porzingis went on the Reddit. Let me talk. He went on the Reddit pod and kind of talked about what it was like, how it was different. Now Grant and Kristaps are not the same player, and Grant is nowhere near as good as Kristaps. But I do wonder if that has kind of not taken him out of it, but made it more difficult for him to feel confident when it's not going well. Because there are less opportunities for him to do things besides shoot threes on offense.
I could not disagree with you at all.
That be you.
What?
That must be you. Loud
I have
buzzing.
no idea.
Right, you moved your hand, it went away.
Oh, I was holding something. My bad. I was holding the mic. I couldn't disagree with you more. I think he has more opportunities to do other things than shoot threes in Dallas than he ever has in Boston. He like that Boston team last year. All he was doing is shoot threes. That's all he did. And he did those pump fakes a little bit more last year. But I think they want him to be more than just a 3-point shooter in Dallas because that's why they traded for him. And for what it's worth, he's also taking more shots than he ever has this year. He took 6 last year, which is 6.8 this year. It's not a huge jump, which is like he has a larger role in Dallas this year than he ever has in Boston. And so I disagree with that notion. I think it's a good fit. And I think it was always thought of as a good fit. It's just he hasn't played as well as people wanted him to.
He's taking 0.8 more shots per game.
Yeah, that's what
he's taking 0.8 more threes per game. So the ratio is about the same.
Yeah.
Fair. It's also averaging the same amount of points.
Yeah, he's just having a down year. It is what it is. Shooters have it.
Sucks.
Let's move on to the email. See what people have to say over there. Thank you all for tuning in. But before we get into that, let us give away some popcorn. Go over to the wheel. I'll apologize to Timo. Apparently, I thought Timo has won before, but he told me he didn't. So we're going to allow him back on the wheel. And we got 2 wheels today. We got Timo versus D-Train. 50-50 chance, Timo. This is your redemption story.
Here goes. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Redemption for Timo. No redemption.
Timo has perished.
Timo, you better comment again. What's poppin'?
Timo just threw his phone across the room.
D-Train. Email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com with your name and phone number. We'll get you hooked up with a $10 gift card to Incognito. Appreciate y'all for commenting. Make sure to comment what's popping for a chance to win $10. Get yourself some really good popcorn. All right, let's go to the email. See what people have to say. First one from Philip. Philip Harp, happy birthday, the birthday boy. Pod advice. Hey guys, I'm trying to keep these shorter. I have heard Jack mention he's a listener of the NBA Front Office pod. What other pods about the NBA do you guys listen to? Do you have time to follow any other Celtics pods? And this may be something you can't answer for political reasons, but are there any other pods you would rat list? I can think of a few, but don't want to call them out in an email if you guys want to keep it friendly. Best, Phil, if you'd like to send us what you'd like to rat list, we're not going to put it on the show, but we will read it and we will laugh.
Might even send you a thumbs up.
Yeah, because we are cynical. I don't want to rat list any pods, and I'm going to make sure you don't either. As
you
far
have
as
the
other
editing-
pods,
The editing tools.
I will, but if you make me do more work, I'm just gonna be mad. Uh, I listen to NBA Front Office pod. That's usually my go-to. I listen to JJ Redick and Zach Lowe as well. Their pods are both good. As far as other Celtics pods, I don't really have time. I cover the Celtics. That's not how I consume
Right.
my Celtics content. But when I do, Locked On, GOAT, John Corrales is a beast. Celtics Lab, came to bat to buy beast. Still potable, also very good. All the Celtics pods are good. First the floor. This is just gonna be us, upping the people we hang out with and talk to. So I mostly listen to NBA shows though when I'm not when I'm listening to podcasts though to catch up with the rest of the league.
Yeah, in terms of NBA, I love Bill Simmons. I guess that kind of counts towards the Celtics pod because he talks a lot about the Celtics, and I do like getting that while also getting the national perspective. Besides that, you can probably tell I don't listen to a ton of NBA pods. I like more of stuff that's making me laugh. So I love Pardon My Take. I love We Might Be Drunk. I like, what else do I listen to? I listen to Redick once in a while. Anytime there's like a guest I'm really interested in hearing from, I'll listen to Redick. Besides that, I don't know. I don't have like a ton of pod time anymore, sadly.
It happens, man. We're busy.
It's also
That's
like not
going
pod
on.
season. When the
What?
playoffs come around, it's
Ah.
pod season. That is, I'll go for a drive to hear what people got to say.
Gotcha. I see. All right. Yeah, I mostly listen to the car too. All right. Next one from RJ. What's poppin', Marcus, and Walsh. This was after the Grizzlies game. Evening, guys. That was fun. I don't care that most of the Grizzlies roster was on the injured reserve. The Celtics got to honor Marcus in a fashion that they didn't do for KG on his number retirement, winning the damn game. We got to see Jordan Walsh score his first NBA points.
Quit
A good
touching
night
me.
indeed. Sorry. I know us hoop nerds. It's so weird because it never does it. It must be the back. Is it doing it? If I go like this, does it do it?
No.
Okay. I think I accidentally, my pinky was touching like the port in the back, so I'll avoid that.
Okay.
My bad. I was like, it's never done that before.
It just sounds like on Xbox
yeah,
when
yeah.
someone has a bad mic and it's just like zzz
My bad,
in the background.
Rest of RJ's email. Sorry. I know us hoop nerds have been losing our minds waiting for Walsh to get time and minutes, but it seems like a lot of the Celtics fandom is getting behind the kid too. Or am I imagining that? Either way, he seems like he may be the first successful graduate of Celtics U up in Maine. We'll talk about that. When I watch him on the court, he's playing ball the right way, even when he's not in the primary action. On defense, his head is on a swivel, and he seems to understand the concept of boxing out. I look forward to seeing him get more minutes as the season progresses. Be well, RJ. Yeah, good that they won the game. Good for Jay Walsh. Celtics fandom is absolutely getting behind him. There was a huge pop when he scored. Also, as far as successful
Did you see
graduate,
the debut?
what do you mean?
When it was his debut, how like he touched the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a buzz around the garden. It was crazy.
They were amped, man.
Yep.
As far as graduates of Celtics U, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, like there's two on the team right now.
Cornett. Yeah, Cornett has two banners. He has two. He has two banners in Maine.
Yeah.
The
So
Lobsterman. Nut. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't have an alliteration. I panicked.
what were you even trying to say? You
Lobsterman leader, RJ. RJ is like the biggest Maine fan that I know. He always will talk to us about Maine. Lobsterman leader. That is RJ's nickname.
Lobster Lads leader. You forgot the L.
Lobster Lads. I said Lobsterman. Whatever.
Same thing. That's just what RJ calls it.
Yeah.
All right. Last email from RJ again. Trade deadline odds.
Wait. Sorry. I didn't actually talk about Walsh. So I'm excited about Walsh. Sorry, I wanted to actually give feedback on Walsh. I'm excited about
you
Walsh.
decided to fucking try to make an alliteration joke instead and fumbled all over yourself.
Yeah, I did. He needs to get bigger. When you look at him compared to all the other guys watching on TV, he's clearly like not as muscular. I think this is going to be a huge summer for Walsh, whether it's actually the summer league and him showing up in Vegas and playing, or it's just a get swole summer for Walsh. Regardless, is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see the Instagram pics. He's going to be posting a little pump after the gym, or is going to be dropping buckets in Vegas. I'm excited for next year, Walsh, because I think there's real potential for him to earn more minutes. You're seeing somebody like O'Shea Brissett. If Walsh is able to physically get to where he needs to be, he could very easily earn minutes like that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I still don't know if he gets minutes next year. I think year 3 Walsh is when we start to see serious things, especially because Sam Hauser, because Hauser's going to be gone. I think that's when you'll see if he's gone. I assume he'll be gone.
Well, that's true.
All right.
Also needs to lift some weights.
Also true. Last email from RJ. What's poppin'? Trade deadline odds. Morning, guys. Time for my only wagering lines. What sort of trades will the Celtics make? I won't try to guess any specific players. Brad plays his cards as tightly as Danny did. My only take is that if someone tweeting a quote inside sources report counted as vapor. That said, my tote board currently sees trade deep bench players plus picks for a wing 65-1. Sees trade deep bench players plus picks for center 35-1. Sees trade deep bench players plus picks for a point guard 20-1. I don't see the Celtics moving off of Pritchard as much as this is a depth move in case of injury. Neither Banton nor Davison are ready to assume a 10-minute role night at this point in their development. Also, sees trade a rotation player plus picks for a wing or a guard 700-1. Sees trade a rotation player for plus picks for a center 500-1. While I don't see either as likely, the idea that the Celtics might move Luke in his expiring contract seems slightly less unlikely. 6 Sees trade one of the starting 6, no line. Realistically, I think the competition is, quote, converting Cato to a full contract versus available center on the buyout market. And even then, I like Nemi's chances better. This is my long-winded of saying thanks, Jack, for your overview piece on Celtics blog. Be well, RJ. Yeah, we went over it. Good.
Bet $10 on all of them.
Yeah.
Just
I was
in case.
on Celtics Lab today. Someone, I forget who said it, but they were like, yeah, since Kelly, who was it? Kelly Olynyk, DeLon Wright, and Andre Drummond were mentioned. Count on the Celtics trading for none of them because Brad Stevens never lets his stuff.
Yeah, the Brad
out.
Stevens trades don't happen after you hear about them.
Only one was Al.
Time.
Only one was Al, and that wasn't even reporting. It was just speculation.
That was just me saying they should trade for Horford.
I know.
Please trade for Horford.
Everyone was in on Horford. Everyone wanted him.
Not you.
Where did that narrative come from? Just because you want something doesn't mean I don't. Like, we don't always have to be against each other, you psychopath. I said, yeah, Horford back was great. I just don't know if it'll definitely happen. And you were all in, and you interpreted my like realism or like hesitancy with
realism,
you hate
buddy.
Al Horford.
Who was in the real world on that one?
It's hindsight. It happened. You're an asshole.
I had
I don't know why I still do this podcast. Let's check in around the NBA. See how teams are playing right now. Just the fucking worst.
That's so funny.
Celtics have won one in a row. The Bucks, Docker. It takes nothing for what? Me to get mad or for you to fucking vaporize some?
For me to get
bullshit?
under your skin.
Bucks Doc Rivers era has been going terribly. They're 5-5 in their last 10 and 1-3 under Doc, including. Did you see the game last night, or did you see what happened?
I saw the. Hey, the Bucks are up 20. Hey, the Bucks lost by 20. Mm-hmm. The 2 screenshots of them being up. I want to say 61-43, and then they lost.
They were up 12 going into the fourth quarter. They got outscored in the fourth 40-13. 40-13 in the fourth. It was terrible. Also,
that's awful. Why would you tell me that? I don't need to know that before bed.
I forgot to say this at the start, but my dad wanted me to credit him. My dad won his parlay. Yeah, he won his Papa parlay. So shout out Mr. Simone, pregame legend. Shout out my dad, Tom. Beast. Won it. Wanted me to say something. Back to the NBA stuff. Bucks 5-5 in the last 10, not very good. Cavs still surging. They've won their last 5 games. We were talking about the Cavs and saying like, oh, they haven't been playing good teams. They started playing good teams again, and they're still playing good basketball. So credit to them. They've won 14 of their last 15 games. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Bucks in there. They beat the Magic in there. So they've been taking on some like quality teams. They've also played the Spurs. They've also played the Grizzlies and the Pistons and the Hawks and the Nets. So there's a fair share of bad teams in there, but they have strung together. I mean, regardless if you're playing bad teams or not, 14 out of 15 is like, yeah, okay, good for you. That's pretty good. So they've surged up to 3 in the East, and if they win tonight, I think they move up to second in the East in terms of percentages and stuff.
Depends about the top. The percentage will definitely take them up.
Knicks also on fire. They are 9-1 in their last 10. They did lose their last game. I think that was the Lakers, but they are still playing very well. I also saw a streak. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart are starting a podcast, which is hilarious, called the Roommates Podcast. And also I saw a streak, and both of them were clowning Ryan Arcidiacono, who became the first NBA player to play in 20 straight games without scoring a point, which is awesome.
Respect.
It's so funny.
He hates scoring. PJ Tucker's next.
76ers. 5-5 in their last 10. We'll talk about Embiid in a little bit,
biggest
but their seasons they're cooked. They're cooked. Pacers 4-6 in the last 10. They did win their last game though, so they're figuring it out. They're trying to, at least. The Halliburton minutes thing is still a mess. Magic 5-5 in their last 10, but they've won 3 in a row. They're turning it around. Heat still bad. 2-8 in their last 10 for Miami. They've fallen off a cliff. Bulls, Hawks, Nets continue to be horrendously mid, although the Hawks have been picking up the pace since Trae Young got, quote, snubbed from the All-Star game. He's been on fire, just one player of the week. And then the bottom of the East, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards, Pistons. Tragic. Just really bad.
Have you seen some of this Hornet stuff that's come out?
No.
Like Steve Clifford was like, we're not trying, we're just not talented. He was like, my team lost, dude, please stop. And then I think it was like a video of all the players like laughing. Like, I forget what the hell.
I saw that. I saw the players thing. They were down by like 30 and they were just laughing on the bench.
They were just laughing. LaMelo was, what the fuck did he say? I don't know. I don't know where like to look it up, but he had like some quote where he was post-game interview and it was like, we gonna try, but we gonna have fun too. We gonna have fun no matter what. So like they don't even seem like they care that they're getting their asses kicked. The one positive for them, I think Brandon Miller's actually played really well. So that's good for them that they hit on a draft pick.
He just put up 35.
They just have to like start to bring in guys that can help them compete around LaMelo and Brandon Miller, which maybe next year's their little leap year. They're not going to be Thunder leap year, but they may like, I don't know, jump up to maybe ninth.
We know the Pistons we know the Hornets are fucked now because that's what Sam said about the Pistons last year. So expect the Hornets to win 6 games.
Well, we also said Thunder.
What do you mean? We predicted Thunder. Everyone predicted
batting 500 on that.
Everyone predicted the Thunder to be better. Speaking of the Thunder, they've won 3 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. They are sitting atop the East with the Timberwolves, who are both 35 and 15. 35 and 15. Yes. Clippers right there as well, 33 and 15. They've won 3 in a row. Nuggets also playing well. Kings, a little bit of a surge. 1-2 in a row, 6 and 4 in their last 10. Suns also playing well. Hold on, what?
The Nuggets, for I think 2 pods in a row now, have had this weird, they're half game back, but they're still in 4th place. And it just continues to resonate. So Denver.
Resignate?
Or resignate is, I might have misused the word, but just sits there.
Yeah, it's just
to be real.
They're hanging out. Pelicans 5 and 5 in their last 10. They're Mavericks sliding, although Luka and Kyrie are back tonight as we're recording this.
Who are they playing?
They're Mavs game tonight. Philly, they're losing right now.
Oh no! Come on, Kyrie, you got to do something for the Celtics. You only fucked them in 2019. They
are playing in their 20th game together of 50 this season, so they're trying real hard. Outside of that, Jazz 4 and 6 in their last 10. They're falling back down to the earth, as are the Rockets. Lakers 6 and 4 in their last 10. They are 1-2 in a row, which sucks. Warriors still bad, 4 games under 500, and then the Grizzlies, Blazers, and Spurs are all pretty tragic.
It is kind of funny that the Warriors are the team closest to the abyss. Like it's the 3 ass teams. By the way, Memphis only has 3 less wins than the Warriors. They've just lost a lot more. And then the Warriors, who are just terrible. Like
the Warriors
on Reddit, their fans are like, "What do we do with this guy?" And it's just Clay.
Yeah,
like,
Clay's been bad.
Of him.
I will say, for as terrible as they've been, the fact that they're only a game and a half out of the play-in, like they're not dead. They're just bad.
Right.
They're not completely dead.
Should we be rooting for them to die?
Why?
Sarge.
I don't think it's realistic anyways, and I think if he does get made available, the Celtics could get outbid. So like I'm not too worried about it. And for what it's worth, I don't think they will just crumble over. I think they'll keep trying no matter what because they have no reason to be bad.
Mbappe.
So be there no matter what, baby. It took me a second. All right. I don't think that I covered it all. Did we cover all the NBA stuff? I feel like there was something else I wanted to bring up, but I forgot.
I've started to compile all the Bleacher Report like quote memes on my phone. I have the Wemby one. I have a Ben Simmons one now.
What's Wemby?
Wemby, when asked about playing in Madison Square Garden, it's not as big as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Good meme.
There we go. All right. Next thing, we mentioned it briefly. Joel Embiid, out for a while. He will reportedly undergo the surgery to repair his meniscus, per Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Procedure to address the left meniscus injury in the coming days is when he's going to have it. Quote, the door isn't closed on a return this season, however. They said they were hoping for like a 2-month recovery time. However, if it's fully torn, I think is what they said, it'll be longer. He's expected to miss an extended period, but a more precise timeline isn't expected until the doctors complete the procedure.
Yep.
So all of that in TLDR, Sixer season is cooked, effectively.
Right. And the sucky part about that for them is this felt like a season that they could
Yes.
really kind of compete. Not so much because of who they have, but every time we're like trade destinations for player X, it's like Sixers because they have the flexible contracts they can just ditch and like bring in somebody that's going to help them instead of worrying about are they going to break up their rotation if they need to make some move. They didn't have that problem. So this is a really, really shitty season for this to happen to Embiid because they could have went out and got a DeRozan. They still could. They could get DeRozan or DeJounte Murray, I guess technically could fit there with the salary at least. Maybe not the fit. Who else has been rumored that we've been like Philly? I mean, Caruso.
I don't hate Caruso. I don't hate Alex on Celtics blog brought up Bogdanovich, either of them.
Oh, yeah,
what?
I'd hate that.
Yeah, right? They'd be good. Outside of that, Clay. Imagine.
I don't hate it would be helpful though.
I don't think I'd hate for either team a Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter for Tobias Harris swap. I think that could be not bad. I mean, if you want to try to be competitive, you could do a 1-year DeMar DeRozan rental with picks.
What do you think they do? I mean, I'm sure Morey's just sitting there with his head in his hands because he could have really got busy this trade deadline. But you could still.
I think they still get busy.
Yeah.
I still think they get busy. I don't think you can abandon your plans. I still think they'll be a competitive playoff team. I still think they can win a first-round series for what it's worth because Maxi's that good. But it's going to be tough. I think you add I think, again, it was Alex who was talking about Philly, like still being a mover, still being one of the teams that he expects to make a move at the deadline. He was like, I still think they could get players now that they could re-sign later. And remain competitive. And so I think that's what they'll end up doing. But this whole Embiid could be back this season. Just don't be stupid. Like Alex said this too. He's like, don't risk it. You don't like one, he's probably never going to be the same as it is. Like, I'm pretty sure this is very similar to the injury Robert Williams had. And we see how he is doing currently.
Boy, just don't put that evil out there.
Don't risk it, man. And I know you do too. I like Embiid. Come on.
I like him. The one thing I'll say about the injury is he might be back, right? What does Embiid back look like after an injury?
Exactly.
We've seen him come off of injury. If you want to point out something specifically, last year's series against the Celtics, he came back and he wasn't that dominant. Like, I don't think Game 5 maybe was a really good Embiid game, but besides that, like, there weren't too many games where he was like a unstoppable guy like we've seen this season. It just hasn't happened. In fact, they lost 4 out of the 6 games he played in when they played the Celtics. So I'm not really sure if I'm Philly, how excited I'm even going to get about him coming back off of no conditioning, no game minutes in a playoff series. Not to say he's going to be nothing, but he's not going to be the MVP level player that everybody knows him as. It's just not what we've seen from him in the playoffs after he's been injured, because it's every year. You can go and look. It's every single year.
Yeah, I would just shut him down. I wouldn't risk it. I don't think it's worth it. So there's that. Anyways, next thing is LeBron and the Knicks. I think this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But Brian Windhorst said on the Hoop Collective, quote, "Of course he was cognizant and aware that he was putting a towel on that said New York Knicks. Why would he mess with the Knicks? Because he was using the Knicks as a tool to pressure the Lakers. This is because in an image or in a post-game interview, LeBron was wearing a Lakers towel, a Knicks towel. In the Bleacher Report article that was written, it was like the 4-time MVP posted an ominous hourglass on X, formerly known as Twitter. Last week, it followed up by wearing a New York Knicks towel on national TV after Saturday's win. Shut the fuck up. Like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. One, like, maybe LeBron's this big mastermind mind game trying to fuck with the Lakers. Maybe he was just grabbing a towel because he was fucking sweaty and wanted to wipe off. 2, I don't fucking care. Like, it's so stupid. And I think it's the lamest shit ever. Like there's actual basketball being played and we're analyzing him wearing a towel that was just readily available to him.
And what was a good game?
Shut the fuck up. It's so lame. It's so stupid, man. And I get
Yeah.
it's people's job. This isn't me shitting on Wendy for what it's worth. Like I'm shitting on all the people who have constantly obsessed over every small fucking detail. Stop. Cut the shit. And it's Wendy's job to do it because these fucking suckers are eating it up. So it's lame.
This is LeBron. And LeBron does petty shit like that. So to completely rule it out is kind of impossible. Like, you can't be like, he definitely wasn't fucking with them. Do I care that he's fucking with them? No. Do the Lakers care that he's fucking with them? No. Otherwise, kind of to circle it back to what my mom said, him sitting out against the Celtics was probably a message. The players on the team sent a message back saying, fuck you, we can play. This team was put together by LeBron. When they were ass 2 years ago after they were the 7th seed, and then they signed like all of his buddies in the summer, and they brought in all those guys like Melo, Lakers are back.
Yeah.
That's always the thing. Like, the Lakers won the offseason because LeBron has all these guys come in to join the team. Then it doesn't go well, and then it's like, why doesn't LeBron have any help? He's the one doing everything. You can't, if he truly was trying to send a message to the organization, he has no grounds to stand on, and I'd imagine they're getting sick of it. It's not translating to winning games anymore. They're like mediocre to like a T. They are dictionary mediocre, and they beat the Celtics.
They're just a bad offensive team, and that's kind of like it. Period. They're just a bad offensive team. That's
get their in-season tournament ring. So
the
it
NLDL.
can't be that bad, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think all this shit is super fucking lame, and I don't care about it.
That's why I can't stand him, because it's not out of the realm of possibility that he was trying to do that.
Very lame. Next NBA thing is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in a million years. So Nikola Vucevic was recently asked about the Bulls trade rumors, right? He was like, what do you think of trade rumors, et cetera, et cetera. And his response, those are things that are out of my control. We feel we have enough. We have a lot of stuff we can do better on the court. We also have some stuff like injuries that's unfortunate to deal with, but I believe we have enough. King of the fourth quarter tweeted the perfect summary. Enough for what? What do you have enough for?
Yeah.
For what? What? You don't have enough for shit. Zach LaVine's out for the season, so even if you thought he was a big part of it, he's gone. And Lonzo Ball hasn't played basketball in 2 years. You're stuck as the 9 seed. The fact that they are okay with being the 9 seed is insane to me. And not because I think it's not valuable to be just a competitive basketball team and trying to sell tickets and all that stuff like that. I get that. Some teams just do that. One, you're the Bulls. You're not just like a random like low sub market, like whack ass market. You're the Chicago Bulls. And 2, you have a clear pathway to get out of this. You have good assets on your team that can be sold and net you good picks. Alex Caruso could get you a couple first. DeRozan could probably get you at least 1 first. Vucevic could probably at least get you a first. Like, that's 4 first-round picks right there. Drummond could get you some seconds. You can get some young pieces in some of those deals. There's a clear pathway forward with a guy like Kobe White, who is clearly good enough to be a good piece on a good team sometime moving forward. What the fuck are we doing? It's so brain dead. And there's nothing... This isn't me mad at Vucevic, right? Of course he's going to say that. Of course he's going to say, we feel like we're a good team. We're a good team. Like, you're going to back the team. Vuce, you're not, brother. Like, they're just bad. I just thought that was a really funny quote.
Well, maybe there is some like subliminal confidence from him because they've done decent since LaVine went out. Like, they haven't been rolling everybody, but they did have that nice stretch where they played well and they beat a bunch of teams. So maybe that's the kind of thing like you hold on to as a player in a situation like this. You're like, well, we've done it. Like, we have gone on a roll and we have the pieces that can help us win. But enough for what is the correct question? Like, they do have enough to be mediocre. I don't know if LaVine is a needle mover for them. I don't know if he makes a difference or not. He doesn't seem to buy into what, like, playing as a team is. I don't know. But maybe Vucevic needs to put on a Knicks towel. Send a message. Or so he puts on a Bulls towel to be like, yes, we got this.
I don't know. All right. Last thing we're going to do, we're just going to skim through the 2 big trade article things that came out today. from Jake Fisher and Michael Scotto. Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, Michael Scotto of Hoop Site. We don't have to spend a ton of time on them, just the big, like, boom booms. Okay, Jake Fisher first. Friend of the pod. Milwaukee staying aggressive after switching head coaches midseason. The Bucks remain committed to improving their roster. Quote, shopping for help. Connaughton and campaign are the most likely outgoing scenario. Bobby Portis would need to be included for Milwaukee to chase bigger salary like DeJounte Murray, Bruce Brown, or Andrew Wiggins. So Bucks staying aggressive. Shocker.
Ooh,
Says
I hate if they got Wiggins. Even though he hasn't
Would be
played
annoying,
well,
right?
like I don't need to see him play well again against the Celtics.
Would be annoying. Wizards are having a yard sale. Shocker. DeLon Wright, Tyus Jones. Duh. What is up Orlando's sleeve? He mentioned actively targeting Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry. But those whispers don't seem to be accurate. Perhaps Orlando would look to add Lowry if he does reach the buyout market, but there's been no trade interest from the Magic to make a deal with the Hornets. The same goes for Paul. So it sounds like that is maybe a bit overblown. An aging, smaller floor general would be incongruent with the rest of Orlando's build, which is flush with rangy, defensive-minded athletes. While the Magic are certainly in need of perimeter scoring, it seems Orlando won't consider upgrades there either, unless that long-range threat is a sheer positive on the other side of the floor. So they're looking at defense. The Hornets continuing to shop around Miles Bridges. The Suns are a team that has expressed interest. Phoenix has indicated a willingness to add Okogie into a package of Nas Little and 2 second-round picks. They still want a first for him. Detroit and Utah linked to Bridges as well. Mavs are not interested.
Pistons,
they want the
can't
Nets
do
guys. No, you can't. Come on. PJ Washington drawing interest. Clippers purported pursuit of Washington became noted, so the Clippers might wanted him. One source went so far as to describe the Clippers-Washington connection as, quote, bad info, however. So maybe not. What will the Knicks do? They've shown interest in Washington. Knicks appear more interested in Bruce Brown, however. It's become clear the Knicks aren't willing to part ways with Quentin Grimes unless they're trading the young swingman for a perceived upgrade. Grimes continues to have fans in Atlanta and Utah. The Jazz roster, Olenek, Clarkson. There's a lot more here. Actually, only 2 more things, so I'll just quickly. Could DeJounte Murray stay put? Might stay put effectively. The lack of teams with legitimate first-round pick ammo has become apparent. And then point guard updates. Kobe White is off limits in Chicago. Shocker. Andre Drummond's the most likely player there to be traded. Caruso has drawn interest, but the Bulls' asking price is quite steep. Lakers guard Gabe Vincent, who's become included in their outgoing trade conversations, appears on track to return by early March. Okay, there we go. Also, Jared Vanderbilt's out for the Lakers. That's just irrelevant, but
season's over.
Okay, Michael Scotto time. We're going fast pace. You fine with this? We just bang through it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. And then we can revisit whatever we think's interesting. Go ahead and go through it.
We know the Celtics stuff. They're staying active. Olenek, DeLon Wright, Andre Drummond. Nets stuff. Let's see. Brooklyn not looking to rebuild. Nets hope to build alongside Mikal Bridges, who's locked in. Ben Simmons. Given Bridges' contract, Ben Simmons $40.3 million, and the rest of the roster, Nets have a 2-year window where they can potentially add more star power to improve the team. Doing so could shift Bridges to a second or third offensive option, depending on who they can acquire. Nets passed on 4 first-round picks at last year's deadline from the Grizzlies for Bridges, and the Rockets, who were willing to give back several of Brooklyn's unused remaining draft picks in the James Harden trade for Bridges. So
you can't do that if you're the Nets.
You can't do what?
You can't like have the Rockets take pity on you and give you your picks back. No, you can't do that. The Grizzlies one is kind of interesting though, because before everybody got hurt, like last year, if they got Bridges, that would have been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Be good this year too. I mean, he's a good player. He'd be good for their future. Wings that could potentially move are.
Imagine if they had their first from this year.
Grizzlies, yeah.
Things might be going a little different. If,
Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal could be moved. At the trade deadline last season, Finney-Smith could have fetched 2 first-round picks. League sources told Hoopsite. O'Neal could have garnered a first last year's trade deadline as well. Let's see. Lakers and Mavs have shown interest in Finney-Smith. As far as O'Neal, Mavs, Nuggets, Pacers, Bucks, Timberwolves, Suns, Kings, per the New York Post. Spencer Dinwiddie is another candidate who could be moved, but he hasn't been getting much interest, I don't think. DeJounte Murray for a package involving Dinwiddie and protected first can entice the Nets to trade. Nick Claxton has also drawn interest, but Ravel's executives have come away saying that Brooklyn will look to keep him. Bulls, Zach LaVine is set to go season-ending surgery, and so Detroit's no longer interested. Funny. Andre Drummond suitors, Celtics, Mavs, Lakers, Suns have shown interest. Rockets also considered it before getting Steven Adams. They want the equivalent of 2 first-round picks for Caruso. Other rival executives are quietly monitoring the availability of Patrick Williams, but since he failed to sign an extension, and then they don't know what's happening with DeRozan. There's no idea what's going on. Isaac Okoro, another name. I think the Knicks, Hawks, Pacers, Suns, Bucks, all teams to watch for Okoro. The Pistons, Killian Hayes would prefer a change of scenery, according to him and his representation. So that's hilarious. Grizzlies could give Hayes a chance, said Scotto, because John Morant's out. I mean, they just need fucking anybody at this point. Timberwolves are interested in Burks and or Monte Morris, among others. Grizzlies stuff. Xavier Tillman set for unrestricted free agency. Rival execs are monitoring if Memphis will move him or risk losing him. That is a Celtics eyebrow. Maybe I wouldn't hate Tillman.
Money,
right? Yeah, he's on a close to a minimum contract, I believe.
Wouldn't mind that.
He makes 1.9 mil. Yeah.
Yeah. Go get him.
I'd be done. A couple seconds.
There's no reason for the Grizzlies not to do that either.
Yeah.
It's not like they have anything to play for.
Zaire Williams, Jake LaRivia also being monitored. Minnesota wants a point guard. They've looked at Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, Bones Highland, DeLon Wright, and Alec Burks as well.
Didn't they have Tyus Jones?
Yeah, a long time ago. He was before the Grizzlies. Rival execs are monitoring Wendell Moore Jr., Shake Milton, and Troy Brown as potential trade candidates. The Wizards, fire sale, we know that. And yeah, that is about it. Okay, we got through it all. Anything of interest, or do we want to move on?
Magic are my favorite trade deadline story. I
agree.
think they're really interesting. I would like to see who they get to play point guard. From what we're hearing, it doesn't sound like that move's going to come here. And the way they've cooled off this season is also like another indicator, like maybe it's not time to push all the chips in just yet. Another team that's interesting is the Knicks. They have that Fournier contract. They have a bunch of draft picks. Like, they legitimately could get more help, and they're already playing well. That's not a lot of fun for the Celtics. It's like the Sixers thing before Embiid got hurt. It's like they can still get better. And from a Celtics perspective, you don't need anybody getting better. You just don't. Yeah. As it stands now, the Knicks are fourth, so they play them in round 2. It's like a half game, but still, it could change. But if it ended today, that's what it would be. So you got to keep your eyes peeled on that one. They would play Philly round 1 for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. Who is this?
The Knicks.
Knicks, yes. Okay. Yeah, I think Philly would lose that series. I really think the Knicks are good, man. I think they're a good team. All right. Should we move to the rat list here?
Yes.
Let us rock. You're going to have much more than I do. I don't even know what I have. So I'm just going to let you cook.
Okay. I already did the rain. We'll go quick. Rat list, the Wi-Fi on the plane today. So I was flying home, and I have paid for Delta's Wi-Fi because I wanted to do my 2-for-1 article, which I have since finished. I'm going to go through and touch it up just to make sure I did everything I want to do with it. But I'm working, and it continues to go in and out, and it eventually perishes. They shut off the Wi-Fi on the plane, and I was ready to lose my mind. I'm like trying to look up stats, percentages, and I got the fucking circle on my screen just loading on the tab in the browser. It's loading. And I even shut off my computer thinking it was my fault, but no. So I reset my computer. Luckily, I didn't lose my history, though. It might be back.
What do you use to write?
What do you mean, what do I use to write?
Like, what history would you have lost?
Well, like, when I close my browser on my computer that I bring with me, it's my work computer. So, like, for whatever reason, it clears all of, like, the things. So, like, when I do StreamYard, I have to log in again, all that
I
stuff.
thought you meant your work. I was like, don't you use Google Docs? Like,
No.
Got you.
No, I would have been pissed if I lost everything. But luckily, I didn't. So, kind of anti-rat list to the computer came in clutch. But I was pissed on the plane. Because I wasted, like, an hour just sitting there waiting for it to start. I could have watched another movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I don't have much, but a quick one. I don't really care, so it's not like a real me angry rat list, but I saw my first rat at a tea station yesterday. Just right across the floor. I tweeted out
ever on the rat list.
I know, right? I saw it had to be on here. I tweeted out, I said, saw my first rat at a tea station. Feel like an adult now. And that's it. I just saw a rat at the news station.
I meant to reply to you and say you must have walked by a mirror, but I like got busy or something like that. I think I was at the
That'd have been good.
show or something yesterday.
That'd have been real good. Ugh.
I have like rat lists for you. Like I was certain that we were gonna come on the show today. You're gonna be like, rat list, the Grammys. All I could do last night was tweet about Noah Khan. I
forgot
kept
about that.
retweeting stuff.
Forgot about that. I love Noah Khan. You got robbed. Like it's some bullshit, man. I Noah Khan should have won Best New Artist. And the worst part was, this is a good one. I did forget about this. I've just been zoned out all day. I would have been like, okay, and there's no disrespect to who won. I'm sure she's Victoria Monet won. I'm sure she's a great artist, right? But like, she was in a category with Noah Khan, Ice Spice, and Jelly Roll. Who? She won? With all due respect. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I would have been okay if Ice Spice or Jelly Roll won, right? Like, because I've heard of them. Who the fuck is this?
Like, you know the guy that I tweet out the picture of him in the Paul Pierce jersey every once in a while? Guy I used to work with. I just always think of him when I see Jelly Roll.
Yeah. But like, one, I was sure Ice Spice was gonna win because she's huge, right? Like, so I would have been like, all right,
she had the Dunkin' drink that's like 1,000 calories.
Yeah, even Jelly Roll. But like, I was so mad. Yeah, No Khan got robbed. Absolutely. Although he is hilarious. He put out a video on Twitter. He was like taking my first piss at the Grammys, and then he said we'll update, and then he came out and he goes, "Update. It's just a men's toilet. It was fucking disgusting." And he fucking left and went back to his seat.
I took an 80-second piss today after I got off the plane. I was waiting to plane. I was like dying in my middle row seat.
That's impressive.
I timed it. I knew it was going to be a hell of a piss, dude. I just whipped out the timer. I was like, let's go.
Respect.
80 seconds. Don't worry about it. Rat list. So I was at this work convention. That's why I was out west. And yesterday the convention finishes up at hour X. And at hour X plus 30 minutes, there's this fucking lady wandering around looking to get more free shit. Like the people that go to these, if they're not in the industry, are something special. If it's your job and you're there looking for information about your job, it's one thing, but there's some straight wackos that are at these events. And she was like talking to us as we were breaking down our exhibit. Like we had taken down all the little props and things, and it's like on a table across the way from us because we're using somebody else's table to store our shit. So it was still organized while we were continuing to break down. And I had to walk over because she was lurking around it. I was ready for her to try and steal something because they love anything they can get at this thing. They're like little weasels running around trying to get it's like when you go to like Dave and Buster's and you pay like 3,500 tickets for like the shittiest prize. And it's like something like that. And they go around and grab these things and they think it's the greatest. So like they spend their entire day doing that. They played the two songs that indicate the show is concluded. She is still there through the two of them. And then she comes around not once, and I gave her the cold shoulder the first time because I was not having any of it. I do not play. When I want to leave, I want to leave. Your time is up. She then came around again. I'm watching the Celtics on my phone as we waited for our like boxes to come because you don't keep all your boxes at the station. It would look a mess. So they put them in storage for you. And she's like, oh, like one more question. And I like didn't even look up from my phone, like answered, and she fucked off. But some of these people, man, I'll tell you, just I won't be back for a year, but beauties.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have much. I have more when we do like the Saturday pod because it's been like 2 days, but like
a couple days for you.
I just work normally. Like
there was something else I had that I thought you were going to talk about, but I don't remember what it was. So I'll wrap up then. Rat list. Yeah. Airport security. So I again flew home today. Why on earth is airport security not the same at every airport? When I left from Logan, don't take anything out of your bags. You don't have to take your shoes off. Everything on the belt. I'm in LA this morning. Laptops, iPads, all out of your bags. Got to take your sweatshirt off. Just come up with one standard regulated, hey, at every single airport, you need to do these things. These things need to be separated. That way, not only for us as travelers know that, but also like the poor fucking TSA people that are like laptops, iPads out of your bag on a loop for like however long their shift is. And then you have all the dummies that don't know. Like you have to be a dummy. If it's different everywhere you go, you can't like go in prepared. You have to be like, what do I need to do? I'm sorry I have to ask you this, but I guess we just rolled the dice and spun the wheel today on what we're going to actually check. The best part about going through security at the airport is they have all these signs, right? And the signs are like, hey, just in case you forgot, can't bring a gun. It's like,
Just in case.
yeah, it's like no guns allowed past this point. It's like, oh, fuck. Is there somewhere that I can throw this away? Because I had mine and I was ready to bring it on board. I do think you're actually allowed to like check them. Like if you want to like bring like a pistol and you put it in your bag that goes in the underbelly of the plane, I think you can do that. So I guess it makes more sense from that perspective. But I always just like get a kick out of it. I'm like, oh yeah,
It is funny.
oh man, I forgot. What am I gonna do with my gun now?
Damn. It's like Jack Jones, the Pats player, just brought 2 guns to carry.
Yeah. My favorite airport
Genius.
story is D'Angelo Russell, who tried to smuggle weed on the plane. And he tried to smuggle weed inside of a Arizona can, which is something else that you cannot bring on a plane.
Genius, man. You love it. You love to see it. All right, that's all I got, though. I'm sorry I was laying with Ratless today. I just brought the rat, and that was it.
I can't believe I had something else that I was like, oh, not Ratless, but great way to start my day today is Jersey Mike's at 5 a.m. Western time.
Did you get breakfast from Jersey Mike's or just a sandwich?
Oh, hell no. I got my number 7 Mike's Way with pickles, and we started the day the correct way.
I counted how many of these I have on my desk.
How many?
Chick-fil-A sauce. Would you like to guess?
I'm going to guess 18.
Go up.
26.
A little bit more.
28.
Even 30. Even
30.
And then I got more today, so now I have like 32. Anyways.
When will the Chick-fil-A streak end?
We'll see. We're going stronger than I thought we would lately. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Check out the Talkin' C's episode I did with Bobby last night. Sam couldn't make it, but it was still good. And a commenter noted that it was much less negative. He was joking, but it was a funny comment. Thank you all for tuning in. Who was it? Was it Christian?
Yeah, I think so. I looked because when you mentioned Talkin' C's, I was like, oh man, I forgot that happened today. Like, let me go look and see how it's doing. And that was the first thing I saw. I was like, oh, I'm hurt.
Drop us a follow. Drop us a follow on Apple and Spotify. Leave us 5 stars and a review, all that good stuff. Appreciate it very much. I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yes, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're putting these pods up Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Talkin' C's is Monday, Wednesday, Friday when all things are normal. You can also find game recaps on days that we don't drop a pod after a game. We'll be there for you regardless. And then when it's not that, it's trade rumor breakdowns, film breakdowns, and other nonsense. You can also find our pregame streams here live a half hour before every single game. So make sure you come hang out for those and leave a like and comment on the rest of the videos because we do appreciate it. And say what's popping because we still do that. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. If you follow us there, you'll get the audio versions of the pods and game recaps right to your inbox. Leave a 5-star review. Say something nice. You can also reach out to us via email. hbtcpod@gmail.com is the best way to find us. We'll read your emails on every pod. We love to go through them and give you feedback. Hearing from you guys is always great. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the podcast. The pre-games are there and on Twitter and on YouTube. Jack's Twitter is at JackSmonNBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.